Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Stephen Howson. This is 5 things that we learn being bored to death by Chelsea and United. Cheers. Number 1, United are ready. Bear with me before you start blogging. The game was so incomparable to the Crystal Palace and even the Spurs game earlier in the season that it looks like United are now ready to start our season. And you're like, Jesus, Steve, we are 5 Premier League games in. We're how many games in other competitions? It's nice of us to turn up, right? But do you know what? It is nice of us to turn up. United have had one of the poorest starts at home, but it does actually look like they've turned the corner. It looks like they are now through that pre-season sort of vibe. And maybe that's why we're not seeing some of the players that we want to see starting, your Tellez, your Van der Beeks, etc. But it does now look like Manchester United are ready. Yesterday we had 14 shots to Chelsea's 6. We had 4-1 on target. We also had 114 final third passes to their 71. We didn't get the result, and it was pretty boring because we just didn't have any sort of real spark in that final third. But it does actually feel like we are starting to be a little bit more assured, a little bit more confident, and as disappointing as it was, because I think that's 2 points dropped, not a point gained, we do look like we are nearing that match fitness. Number 2, ice-cold Lindelof. Yeah, you heard that right. There's been a lot of calls for Victor Lindelof to be dropped, a lot of calls for Axel Tuanzebe to start, and maybe that sort of pressure is working for Victor Lindelof because yesterday was one of his finest performances in a Manchester United shirt. Now, the game was a game of defences. Thiago Silva was actually given Chelsea's man of the match for his performance, but Victor Lindelof did a similar job for Manchester United at the back. Lindelof completed 100% of his attempted tackles. He also had 4 ball recoveries and 2 clearances. But it was the way that he brought the ball out of defence that I thought was the most impressive. And not only that, the way he broke the lines at times when he was carrying the ball out of defence. Fred, with 72, was the only United player that made more attempted passes on the pitch than Lindelof with 56. 91% pass accuracy was maintained throughout those passes, including 30 forward passes, which is ridiculous for a centre-half. Speaking of ridiculous for centre-halves, he also made 2 take-ons, which is nuts. And he created 1 chance, and only Mata and Bruno Fernandes created more than our centre-half did in 90 minutes. In summary, I think Lindelof helped us going forward, certainly. It was a great platform to build off, and he kept a clean sheet and had a pretty solid defensive performance doing that too. So, fair play to Vic. Number 3, Dan James was ineffective. Dan James scored on his Manchester United debut all the way back in August 2019, and he had a pretty decent month that month as well. He scored 3 goals that month, but he's not really been able to do anything productive since then. In 51 games in a Manchester United shirt, he's only managed 4 goals and 7 assists, and when you consider 3 of those came in the opening month, that's a pretty worrying statistic for Dan James. So it was more of the same sort of frustration against Chelsea. I didn't really understand him and Mata being selected together. I'm not sure it gives you the intent of what this team and formation are trying to achieve. I thought that against Newcastle. I thought that a little bit again today. Were United going to be looking to play on the front foot, or were we looking to be a bit more counter today? I didn't know, and seeing Dan James and Juan Mata in the same team doesn't give you any indication of which way that's going to go. Now, Dan James, on the face of things, you go, oh, 71% pass completion from a winger, that's pretty decent. How many passes was it? 10. 5 of them were backwards. Only 1 was forwards. Wow. But he's fast though, right? So he surely had a load of take-ons because that's what he's in the team for. He's absolutely rapid. None out of 4. Ooh. Not a good night for Dan James. Completely ineffective. I don't know what his role is meant to be in the Manchester United team. For me, he got lucky in that first month because on pre-season, as we was watching him, I was going, this guy's got no end product. I'm not sure what he delivers to Manchester United. And I thought it was more of the same last night. Anthony Martial's suspension has given Dan James the opportunity to play some football. But I think as soon as Tony Martial's no longer suspended, he's going to be back on the bench or worse. Number 4, enter El Matador. Edinson Cavani made his long-awaited Manchester United debut last night against Chelsea, and with his first touch of the game, almost broke the deadlock, but hit the side netting. With just over 30 minutes on the pitch in what turned out to be a pretty cagey affair, Cavani didn't really get a lot of opportunities to show what he was all about, but there was the opportunity that Greenwood put into him that he managed to get on the end of. And ultimately, he looked bright while he was doing it. It's always going to take a little minute to settle. It would have been great if he'd have done something on his debut, but sometimes it doesn't go down like that. There was a lot of scepticism when Manchester United signed Cavani, but a free transfer, someone that offers us something entirely different, and boy, did we need that today. I think if he'd have played 90 minutes today, I do think Cavani would have ended up on the score sheet. I definitely think if Telles had played, he would have ended up on the score sheet. And maybe if United had played a bit more of a progressive midfield, he might have ended up on the score sheet as well. I do think Martial is likely to return midweek against Leipzig, so I think Matador will be on the bench during the week. But I think that little bright performance, maybe another 15-20 minutes against Leipzig midweek, and we might be seeing him in line for his first start against Arsenal at the weekend. Number 5, home is the new away. You've got to imagine, as a Manchester United fan, and as the advantage that we have having a 75,000 capacity stadium, which is always packed to the rafters, little things make a difference. When United need a goal, when United go close, like when Cavani comes on and does that for his first touch, you've got to imagine that the crowd is on its feet, it's screaming, the hairs on the back of your neck. And as a player, I imagine that translates. I imagine that energy in a game that was so flat. I imagine that energy, that little 5, 10%, even 1% sometimes is enough to get you over the line and get you a victory. Things like Cavani coming as on for his Manchester United debut. How many debuts have you seen where the crowd gets on its feet, really welcomes a guy, and then he goes and does something mental on his debut, feeding off the energy of those 75,000 people? Obviously, no one's got that. Obviously, the entire Premier League doesn't have that. But Manchester United have started this season with no fans. And I don't know if it's a coincidence. It's our worst start since 1972-73, by the way, at home. I don't know if it's a coincidence that we've come up against some of these teams and it's been flat and it's been at home. Away from home, United have done a record-breaking amount of wins on the bounce. 10 wins out of 10. United have never done that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done that. Why can't we get it right at home? Is it just a coincidence? Is it just that 3 bad games, 4 bad games? Or is it there's something else? Because post-lockdown, when fans weren't allowed in, Manchester United put together one of the most impressive runs in recent memory. Is it something? I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. Our away form is absolutely scintillating. Our home form needs a little bit of investigating. We have drawn the short straw, in my opinion. We've got games against Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Leeds, all at Old Trafford before fans are going to be allowed in. And then the reverse of those fixtures are going to be away from home when they're going to allow fans in. Now, it might be a limited capacity, but again, does it make some sort of a difference? I don't know. It isn't exactly the fairest. There's not a lot we can do about it. But I do feel if there'd have been fans in the stadium today, I think United might have eventually got over the line. That's it from me. Thank you guys for watching. There is a new video coming out tomorrow morning on the Patreon group, and it's going to be entirely Patreon exclusive, and it's a little bit different. Let me tell you that. If you're interested in joining the Patreon group, supporting this channel and getting yourself some extra content and joining in with a group of absolute maniacs, which is our Patreon group, the link for that is in the description below. Check it out, and I'll see you in there. Laters.